Boots, trucks, updates and a league right here, right now. Greetings from and welcome to romrom.net, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and to a regular news roundup. Welcome to the channel, thanks for stopping by. My name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. If you have any news for us, send us a mail to news@romrom.net. No rest for the wicked, no holidays for news, no need to continue blathering, here they are. SCS are celebrating 10 years of the existence of their Euro Truck Simulator 2 with a news trailer that shows the state of the game today, and they say it's going to be the start of things to come for this 10th year. And while we rejoice in it, let us remind you they have their Ukraine Pains DLC supporting humanitarian efforts in Ukraine, Slava Ukraini, which we can recommend and which we fly in our truck. That's of course not all that's going on in the world of SCS truck simulators, as the studio is working on introducing adjustable suspension height for ETS and ATS and expects to release it with the 1.44 versions of the core underneath both games. Based on real-life suspension systems, it will introduce yet another level of realism to these games. You will be able to turn it off if you don't want to have that much realism in your truck, but it's great to have it. I'm sure we sim racers know the feeling of striving for realism quite well, don't we? As always, they look forward to your opinions and might integrate fan feedback in the game, as they've done in the past. While they started in 2018, of course, being an Automobilista league, they now race both of Reiza's newest sims, Automobilista 1 and 2. Using Just Race to organize the race, they have about 4 events every week, be it championships, serious leagues or just fun events, which mostly start at or around 21:15 GMT-ish, and there's often place in the racing roasters. Added to this, they have expanded also to the Pacific region, running a weekly league Wednesdays at 20:30 ACT, and we leave the conversion to your specific time zone to you. They race everything and everywhere Automobilista and Automobilista 2 have to offer, which, as we know, is a lot, and if you ask friendly, they'll give you some coaching or tips on how to get better. In English, as it's the language most there speak. Do not worry if you feel your English is not good enough, though. Racing is their first language, as it's yours. The rest are details that can be sorted out easily. If you're searching for Automobilista 2 racers or even Automobilista 1, why not? You will find a very friendly and welcoming group. Check the link in our description or scan the QR on the video if you're interested. With an update list longer than the whole NASCAR 21 roadmap, Reiza brought a hotfix to Automobilista 2, now standing at 1.3.5.2. Centered mostly around updating the Galeão track, Reiza kept loyal to themselves and threw in whatever else was ready at the point of the update. So they've added the ERS deployment mode and the clutch state information to shared memory, so whatever is reading that can detect it and act accordingly. The HUD now waits 1 second to make sure you really wanted ERS on auto, and that mod now gets displayed on the HUD. In the F-Retro G3TE, they've adjusted the sound of the engine and the turbo when in cockpit mode, added dirt map to the Uno, adjusted the fingers position of the animation and added vibrating bits to the cockpit. While on the McLaren MP41C, they fixed a tire side rotation issue. On Galeão, they took a look at the real-life race, adjusted the track elevations between T1 and T2, changed the starlight gantry so it looks like the real one, and did some other assorted touches to fit reality. And this they did in 1 week, give or take. I need to take a look at their development process because of its brilliant efficiency. We reported a while ago about a new player in the world of sim racing hardware, Asetek, see the link up there. After publishing a set of pedals, it seems their new hardware product is going to be at the same time surprising and, unsurprisingly, a set of shoes. Well, not just some shoes of course, but sim racing boots. Make way for the Invicta trademark racing boots. As someone who bought himself a pair of racing shoes after a second pair of his favorite socks bit the racing dust, I gotta say I'm very comfortable using these kind of boots for sim racing. The Invicta trademark racing boots will sport a thin rubber sole, perforations in the front so your feet can breathe, a padded tongue, and a self-fastener strap and laces. For sim racing I normally don't lace my boots up, so a self-fastener sounds like a good idea. With about 800 grams of weight, they are a bit on the heavy side compared with other racing boots. The boots are expected to be made public at some point in June, but you can already pre-order them. Be aware the price of €99 or USD is a bit higher than is normal for racing boots, and we of course don't know if they are going to be worth the extra price. On the other hand, these boots have been developed with sim racing in mind, and Asetek makes clear they are in no way to be used for racing as they are not flame retardant. So it's either extra care in the design or the hope sim racers are willing to pay more. We'll have to find out in June. If you like this video and would like to see more, consider becoming a patron, thus letting us spread our wings. Amongst other perks, it will fix your name for posterity like this. A big thank you to our patrons. If you come here regularly, please consider subscribing. As they are doing nowadays, Studio 397 just put their April release candidate on the beta download for all you adventurous souls to go and help exterminate any bugs there still may be there, which will become the 2022 Q2 drop as soon as the devs are happy with it. If you want to know all details, check the link in a description as always. The standard safety car now should be the new one everywhere. They added a visual driving line, which I didn't know they hadn't cause I never searched for it, and the rate real road calculations are done has been increased to around 4 times more than before. On the graphic side of things, they seem to have taken a look at the sky, then at their sky, and found their sky to be lacking as they did some changes in the color and tone of the simulated sky. And we'd be having a different conversation if they change the color and tone of the real sky, right? And they've also corrected the way the clouds look. Yeah, in the sim of course. Also, everything having to do with rain and wet conditions has been updated from slightly to heavily. Puddle splashes, spray and other particles, reflections on road, etc. On the matter of particles, a very special kind of particles has seen a big rework done. Sparks. Light conditions, movement based on airflow, even different kind of spark particles, and all of this is nevertheless backwards compatible. They've added shift protection, engine and brake cooling as new physics features that for now are released as test, but that will become integral part of the sim once the test is closed. Also, the sim now has an enhanced cooling system for oil and water, simulating the heat transfer between the two oil radiators and whatnot. And front and rear brake ducts are now separated from each other at last. Also, they seem to be going project cars too with regards to handling wet weather, as rFactor 2 will now simulate better how rain falls and dries on the circuit and how the AI deal with wet conditions. Hopefully they will also simulate the interconnectedness of tarmac, tire rubber on the tarmac and water that is so essential to how race pilots drive in real life. Hey, a girl can dream. At least they come near that if we understand the sentence correctly, where they state they updated the tire grip calculations on rubber areas with wet surfaces. Staying with the tires, we nevertheless move to the AI, which now uses strategy in dry races and even during weekends. And it now uses the right amount of fuel for practice and qualifying. Studio 397 also has done a ton of tweaks to the UI, as was to be expected right after coming out with it, of which adding music to the showroom is the most trivial, while being able to have different customs, graphics and different custom difficulty profiles is an interesting addition. Adding notes to the setup you are about to save a great idea, and having a fallback image if for whatever reason the actual image cannot be loaded eliminates an annoyance. Studio 397 has not forgotten the mod makers and has done some updates and corrections to the tools they have in place for mods. They developed a complete new sound engine for the whole of rFactor 2 that brings better sounds overall and seems to be backwards compatible, so any car released before should still create sound and even maybe sound better. The level of sound detail possible has been raised, the cockpit filtering of sound redone, surround sound, headphones and VR sound have been improved, and support for broadcast microphones at trackside has been introduced. Has this team been talking to Reiza lately? They are at least inspired by the level of detail the Brazilian studio brings to their sim, and we all win thanks to that. You will surely win some joy in sim racing by checking out our rFactor 2 playlist. Until next time, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium.